Let's be honest. You don't have a productivity problem. You have a dopamine addiction with a Wi-Fi connection. You want discipline, focus, motivation, but your brain wants TikTok, sugar, notifications, and emotional chaos. So instead of working harder like a motivational poster from 2012, let's do the smarter thing. Hack the same chemical system that's currently ruining your attention span. Welcome to dopamine, the substance responsible for your ambition and your inability to finish a single meaningful task. So I adjure you to take part in this pleasurable pursuit as we chase after the intrigues of dopamine and productivity. Most people think dopamine is the pleasure chemical. That's wrong. Dopamine is not about pleasure. It's about motivation, anticipation, craving, and pursuit. You don't get dopamine when you win. You get dopamine when you think you might win. It's the chemical that whispers, do it. Scroll more. Click that, eat that, chase that. In the past, dopamine helped humans hunt food, build shelter, and survive. Today, it helps you refresh Instagram, watch YouTube at 2x speed, eat snacks you didn't even want, pretend you're busy while doing nothing meaningful. Modern life has hijacked your reward system. Your brain evolved to feel excited about food, social bonding, exploration, and achievement. Now it's getting dopamine from infinite scrolling, porn, video games, gambling, mechanics disguised as apps, notifications designed by behavioral psychologists, etc. According to researchers like Andrew Huberman and Anna Lemke, your brain was never built for this level of stimulation.
If you drive those dopaminergic states too long, addictive drugs, et cetera, people can do this with sex, food, drugs, gambling, social media, all sorts of things, pornography. What ends up happening is the amount of dopamine that's released over time goes down and down and down and down and pretty much is traversing into the territory of pain. And then people, again, are back to this thing where, they're scrolling internet porn 8, 9, 10 times or hours a day. And then they're wondering why this isn't effective for them anymore, whereas it was before.
But you're not lazy, you're just overstimulated. Your brain is exhausted from chasing fake rewards, and now real work feels like suffering. Which brings us to your new favorite state of existence. When you constantly flood your brain with high dopamine activities, your brain adapts. Not by rewarding you more, but by lowering your baseline. This means normal tasks feel boring, work feels painful, studying feels unbearable, reading feels like torture, and life in general feels emotionally beige. Why? Because your brain has decided, unless this feels like TikTok, it's not worth my time. This is called the dopamine deficit state. You didn't lose motivation, you overstimulated it to death. Dr. Anna Lemke describes this as the pain-pleasure balance.
One of the very exciting findings in neuroscience in the past 75 years is that pleasure and pain are co-located in the brain. So the same parts of the brain that process pleasure also process pain, and they work like opposite sides of a seesaw or a balance. When we experience pleasure, that tips one way, pain, it tips the other.
Every dopamine spike creates a rebound of discomfort. The more pleasure you chase, the more dissatisfaction follows. So the cycle becomes, you scroll, then feel good, then feel worse, you game, then feel good. Before you know it, you feel emptier, you binge, then feel good. Before long, you feel numb. You procrastinate, then feel relief, but for some reason guilt finds a way and creeps in. Eventually, even pleasure feels dull. You don't want to work. You don't want to relax. You don't want to create. You just want more stimulation to feel normal. Which is tragic, because your potential didn't disappear. It's just buried under notifications. Now for the controversial part. The solution is not more motivation, more discipline, another productivity app, or a 3-hour motivational podcast. It's reducing dopamine overload. A dopamine detox doesn't mean becoming a monk. It means temporarily removing social media, porn, junk food, endless entertainment, and anything that spikes dopamine instantly, not forever, just long enough to reset your baseline. At first, it feels awful. You'll feel bored, irritated, restless, and emotionally dramatic, like a phone without a charger. Congratulations. That's withdrawal. But after 24-48 hours, your brain slowly starts to respond to normal life again. Suddenly, reading feels interesting, work feels manageable, walking feels calming, silence feels tolerable, and productivity feels possible. Replace scrolling with walking, writing, thinking, and light exercise.
So boring.
Boring, yes, but boredom is useful now. Studies on digital detoxes show improvements in focus, mood, motivation, and cognitive performance. A 2022 study published in the Journal of Cyberpsychology, Behavior, and Social Networking found that participants who took a 1-week break from TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter reported a significant increase in well-being and a decrease in symptoms of depression and anxiety. So indeed, you're not depriving yourself, you're teaching your brain how to feel alive again without constant stimulation. Once your dopamine system isn't completely fried, you can start using it strategically instead of impulsively. Dopamine is not the enemy, uncontrolled dopamine is. So how do you get to leverage dopamine for peak performance? 1. Dopamine stacking. Pair effort with reward. Before a hard task, play motivating music, drink coffee, move your body, create a ritual, a stimulus that somewhat triggers the momentum. You're training your brain to associate effort with reward. 2. The power of anticipation. Dopamine rises more during pursuit than achievement. That means teasing progress, breaking goals into milestones, tracking progress visually. Small wins equals repeated dopamine hits, instead of waiting for one giant reward that never comes. 3. Cold exposure and exercise. Cold exposure increases dopamine long term. Exercise boosts motivation, mood, and cognitive energy. Translation: a cold shower can literally make you more driven. Not because it's macho, because your neurochemistry changes. 4. Effort-based dopamine. You can train your brain to feel rewarded by trying, practicing, improving, and showing up. This is tied to growth mindset research, where dopamine gets released from effort, not just success, meaning you stop needing motivation to act. You start getting motivated by acting, which feels illegal, but it works. Now we stop pretending productivity means grinding 14 hours a day. It doesn't. It means managing your brain intelligently. Morning protocol: delay cheap dopamine, no phone for the first hour, no social media, no instant stimulation. Instead, light exposure, movement, cold shower, and quiet thinking. You're telling your brain we earn dopamine today. We don't beg for it. Work sessions, structured focus. Use deep work blocks like Pomodoro. Work intensely. Take low dopamine breaks, walk, stretch, stare into the void, exist quietly, not scrolling, gaming, and doom-consuming content. Evening protocol: protect your brain. Avoid screens late at night. Wind down slowly, protect sleep like it's an asset. Because sleep regulates dopamine, plugging into motivation, focus, and emotional control. Here's the real truth. Productivity is not about forcing yourself to suffer. It's about not frying your reward system. When you reduce instant gratification, focus improves, motivation returns, work feels meaningful, confidence increases, and life feels less chaotic. By wanting less cheap dopamine, you unlock more real satisfaction, purpose, and achievement. Which is ironic. The less you chase pleasure, the more fulfilled you become. Your brain hates that, but your future self will love it. If you want a structured guide to help you save time, increase productivity, and stop wasting mental energy, click the link in the description below. And remember, you don't need more motivation, you need less dopamine abuse.